Right. I don't know what that guy is doing with his own police guy ahead of all the others. Maybe he's some special case, I don't know. But he's been let out ahead of the others. Basically, it's 8:57. My watch is about 2 minutes fast, actually, for reasons of always wanting to be in places 2 minutes early. But at the beginning... Oh, he has had to run in a different way. I don't know, something happened to that Chinese guy. We got some people who've been let out before the rest of the crowd. I suppose they're the real special case runners, allowed out even earlier. Here's one having an argument with a bus here. He's running along, but there's a bus right behind him, which is not exactly the best thing. Anyway, this is the 10-mile marker. The 10-mile marker. It's good that some people are going out early, because I don't know why those people are out earlier. Nie wiedzą Państwo, dlaczego wcześniej oni biegają?
Bo oni wolniej biegną, mają prawo. Ale mieli biec razem, cała grupa razem, ci z 8 razem i ci z 7 razem, a widocznie już się tu porozdzielali.
Aha, okej.
Nie, to do harcerzy.
Okay. Dziękuję. So anyways, you see, well, I better stay at the 10 mark, because that's my plan was to stay at the 10 mark and to go from the 10. Right, just a couple of words of whatchamacallit before going. I'll use my watch this time anyway, even though I know it's faster than geographical time or geological time or whatever you call it, political time, who knows, Central European time. This is not very good. This is the sort of thing which you want to have not happening. These apparently are people who are quite slow runners. They're not the kind of extra fast ones that I thought they might be. I thought I thought the ones going at 8 o'clock were the ones which were the superstars, but then they weren't running like superstars. Maybe I should have, if I was in it, I'd be going at 8 o'clock probably, because it's you need more time if you're not a superstar than the 6 hours given. But well, there go the scouts again. Anyway, let's get back on track. Repositioning. I'm at the 10th kilometre of the marathon. You may remember this is my third, if you watch all of the 800 films on my channel and more, and growing rapidly, that this is the third time. This is the third time that I'm filming the marathon. The second time I wasn't filming it, I was in it. I've also filmed the half marathon, which I walked at the same time. I'm going to walk a bit today, but I'm not going to walk a marathon. Basically, it's my ambition to run a marathon. Last year I failed on the marathon, and if you want to know all about that, you can watch the video Uncle Davey's Big Marathon Failure, which is from 1 year back. But basically, the idea that I had in the half marathon was to start 5 kilometres in, and to walk and to just walk with it and photograph every runner. And it was quite successful, so I'm going to do the same today. It's 9 exactly, let me go starting. Which 17 seconds in, but then it's much of a muchness really. So here I go. I'm not going with the scouts into the wood, that's for sure. Just going along the track of the marathon. And I'm not going to waste a lot of time now, I'm just telling you what I'm up to, what the idea of this film is, and then I'm going to turn it off and switch it on again when the serious runners come by. It looks like the organisation of this is as good as it ever was, i.e. not particularly good. I'll be walking on the pavement, they've got the run of the road, in theory, although so far, because it's not the main event, which is just kicking off at 9 o'clock, 10 kilometres back there, as you may have guessed by now, these folk are being given some kind of easier ticket. I suppose it's because of the fact that people had enough getting swept off the road too soon before the stragglers, and so they've allowed the stragglers to start an hour early this year, by the looks of things. That's what I gather or glean from information that rather defensive lady, when I asked why are these people running out early, she said I have the right to do it. She said, as though I was somehow challenging it. I only asked why. I didn't say they shouldn't be. I asked why they were, which is a neutral question in my book, but there we go. So some people are running their marathon in completely the wrong direction. This person's obviously a runner, but not a marathon contender, or at least if she is, she's not going the right way. Which is to show that not every runner is a marathon runner. There go some of more of the earlier contenders, and they're already stopping for the first water break here. It's still in the traditional place, the water break down here. Although this was in the old, we just say that the marathon route changes every year slightly. It starts in the same place, now it's going to finish in a similar place to where it starts, as did the half marathon, and obviously people like that, so they decided to apply it to the marathon. So the marathon isn't finishing now on the big north-south road next to the Vistula, which people criticised. I was actually swept up in the bus last year. These are all the volunteers giving out the free water from Kropla Beskidu, which is one of my favourite, actually. Kropla Beskidu is one of my favourite kinds of water. I buy it quite a lot because it's a proper mineral water. It comes from under the ground. It's not just tap water with powders added in like some things you get. And also the bottle shape. This is actually Powerade they're giving rather than Kropla Beskidu. There's Kropla Beskidu there. The small bottle of Kropla Beskidu, these are big bottles. The half-litre bottle is a handy shape. You can easily grip it by the neck area. It's quite elegant, and so it's my preferred brand as well. And I'm not just saying that because I want to support the people who've supported the marathon. These people are giving out bananas for energy. That's nice. So they're cutting them into manageable chunks. There's going to be banana skins, of course, all over the floor here in a short time, which is going to be interesting to watch the later runners slipping about on them. So more of the early group. One of them's already got a piece of banana. So Solar Pan, that's one group that won't be publishing this film. I'm dressed for the occasion. Anyway, at first I was only going to come out with just this Adidas shirt on, but then I noticed it was a little bit chilly out. They'd promised 22 degrees, and that might happen because you can see the sun's coming up, but right now, according to the thermometer in my car, which I drove over in and parked not far from the 10-kilometre spot, that's the other advantage of starting in, you don't have so much trouble parking where you need to be. 9:05, that is it's a regular alarm of mine at 9:05. I've even forgotten why I ever set it for 9:05. Just does it every day. And so at 14 degrees centigrade, that's nice and crisp, and obviously you want to have a nice plenty of police around today anyway. So it's nice, and that's the Augsburg Confession Church, by the way, through there. So basically it's a chance to have a little bit of a look at Warsaw and a look at people running. I'm not going to, like I say, do much right now because I want to save my film for when the serious runners go by and film as many of them as I can. But I'm really talking about what I'm doing, really. Yeah, I'm basically starting 10 kilometers in, which is a continuation of the idea I did at the half marathon. I'm in no fit state to do a run or a marathon or even a half marathon at the moment, because I probably, just as a summary, I started at 138.6 kilometers before I started my dietary sort of drive, as it were. When I actually filmed the marathon 2 years ago, I'd been dieting quite slowly over the summer, and I found that watching the marathon for the first time I watched it kind of gave me the impetus to speed up, and I'd only lost about 3 kilograms over the summer, and it gave me the impetus to speed up a bit then, and so and to really do some things for my fitness. And I'm hoping that today I'll get kind of enthused again by watching all of this sport going on, this running and the joys of people running some of them in quite a spectacular way. And because, I mean, I got down to about 116 kilograms for last year's marathon, this time last year, but unfortunately I've put about 11 back on, about 11 kilos back on over the course of the year. I wasn't intending to do that. I was intending initially to have taken more off and to be able to actually finish it this year, but I've had a change in job, I've had a change in the whole rhythm of life, as it were. New places, new faces, new things to do. Not a very good time for dieting, more of a time, and there you see back in the distance between those two buildings, the stream of the main group, who are going round and soon will be coming up behind me. How long does it take for a person who runs at 25 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, I don't know how fast the fastest marathon runners, when they're finishing shortly after 2 hours, and it's a 26 mile course, so they're running at least 10 miles an hour, so at this stage they might be going something like 15, 16, 17, I don't know, even maybe 18 kilometers an hour. How long does it take for them to pass me here? Well, obviously I started at 10 and I'm walking forward, so maybe it will be after half an hour. Maybe they'll pass me when I'm at the 11 or 12 marker, so maybe that will be, and then they'll carry on passing me gradually after that. The group of those who've been allowed out early are still going past gradually, but they're not being let out in one group. They were supposed to be running as one group, the people told me, but they don't understand why they're spaced out. They're being told to get on this side of the road. Don't know whether it's certain clubs that have been. Incidentally, this gives me a chance to photograph what else is around. There's a Barbican building up ahead, the Paribas building, and there's this war memorial here from the 60 years or 70 years ago that the war started. There's a new big cross there. That's where the eternal flame is, and the changing of the guard. Usually on the same day as a marathon they usually have various war memorial things going on as well. I think that's Pilsudski over there, judging by the hat in the looking down here at this. There's somebody dressed in Polish army dress, for ceremonial dress. So basically I won't make, having got back up to 127 kilos, I won't make the marathon today, but this is the beginning of a new fitness drive, and I'm going to start going back to walking, my longer walks. And so today's like the opening balance for me. I want to see how I can actually do it. 6 months ago I did the half marathon in 4 hours and 40 something minutes, 46, 47 minutes, 4 hours and 47 minutes I think, yes, to walk the half marathon. And today, I mean, I was about 118, 119 then, if not 120. Now I'm quite a bit on from that, so I don't think I would even walk the half marathon, especially as I'm not out of practice completely. Not completely actually, because I do some walking, but much less than I used to. Not the long ones, just I walk a bit more every day than I used to, but I don't walk, I haven't been doing those kind of walks where you can't put one foot in front of another at the end of them, and that's what you need to do. That's what really burns the fat, that's what really gets your heart rate up into the fat burning range. That's what really gives you as well the power to, you know, tear your muscles apart and then let them come back together again a couple of days later and do the whole thing again, which is what training is all about. I haven't been doing much of that, and that's the problem. At the same time, I haven't been exercising the same portion control. I've gone back onto fruit juice, I've eaten too much chocolate. That's all got to stop. No more fruit juice, no more chocolate. Smaller portions, more salads. I'm not a big eater, despite everything you might think, but I don't think I eat the right things, and I think that sometimes I have a bit too much, although in comparison to what I remember I used to eat, right now I don't eat even 80% of what I used to eat. Probably I eat about 3/4 of what I used to eat, and yet I put weight on quicker. I'm even more active than I used to be, and I find it difficult to take the weight off, and I think that's some aspect of age, now being 45, just things work differently. So seeing a little bit of the beauty of Warsaw as we go around. Because of the existence of some of these runners, I can follow the route, but the route isn't properly marked out yet, because, well, you know that you're on the right way as long as you've got runners passing you, that's the main thing. But the route as such ought to have been marked out a lot better than it is, especially here where you can go around between parts of it, make cuts in between the different parts of the route if you know Warsaw. I was having a look at how many times it overlaps itself in the earlier part, and you know, you could easily, much more easily cheat with the route it is today than it is, than it usually is. Obviously there are things to stop you cheating. Everybody's got a number on their front, pinned to the front, with 4 pins or safety pins, and within that number is a little chip, and as you go through certain gates on the way, it registers you as going through the gate, and you don't know obviously where the gates are going to be, so you could take your chances, but if you got caught, then obviously it would be very shameful for you. So hence I'm doing the walk. That's me walking, my shadow, and this is Theatre Square, the back of the major theatre here in Warsaw. That's part of the theatre also on that side. That's a slightly more official looking cameraman than me. If I had a high visibility jacket, everybody would take my filming a lot more seriously. But one thing I can say, photography, more and more I'm convinced that photography has its limitations. The other day when I was in Prague at the Entropa exhibition, you couldn't photograph that, it just wouldn't bring it out, you had to film it. I'm looking forward to seeing how my film of that Entropa statue has come out. Right. Well, somehow I've managed to do 18 minutes just before any of the serious runners have come, and I ought to really save the film, so I'll try and stop talking now. I can always add the bits I've forgotten later. I think I will just switch it on for a second though, just to show you the prettiness of this square, with the theatre there at the front of the theatre there, and the old town hall there. Very nice. So basically what I didn't mention, because I'm a little bit absent-minded in my commentary today, what I didn't manage to mention before is that I'm probably not going to try to even walk a half marathon. I'll see how far I get. I switched on my mobile phone's GPS tracking function, which is supposed to track how far I've walked. Of course, it only works from the moment in which it finds the GPS satellite, which it seems to be having increasingly large amounts of problems to do. Alternatively, I can work out from the counter things how far I've come, because if I started at the 10th one and when I go past the 15th one, well, I look at the time that took and then use that as a basic walking rate and see how far I actually go today. I'm going to not follow all of the route exactly from the 10th point. Yeah, we have to turn back here. That's the interesting thing. We don't go down there like it was on previous marathons and the half marathon. We have to turn and run down there today, which is part of the new route. They change the route every year. I think the reason why they changed the route last year was because so many people complained, and I was caught up in the bus, as you know, and I heard them listening to the taxi frequency in the bus, and they were complaining like mad at the marathon, saying it's blocked all the roads, etc. So I suspect it's come under some pressure. That old guy with the beard, he cracks me up. I must get closer to the... See, this guy's not exactly an awful lot slimmer than I am, and he's doing well, isn't he? Guy in green, and that old guy with the white hair, tremendous. Whereas when I see somebody tall and thin like that with muscular physique, you know, you wonder why they're walking already after only the 11th or 12th kilometre. That comes from not training at all, really. Let me go down this side. The sun's too bright on that side. So basically, I'm going to not follow exactly the route after the 15th. I'm following it exactly now, but after about the 15th, after I've got most of the serious runners by me, I'll start to take an abbreviation of the route, but I'll know from my walk rate roughly how much walking I've done, and it's my intention to do about a third of a marathon today, because it's my opening balance sheet, as it were, for the new health drive. I want to know how much I can do today in terms of how long I can keep it up for and how far I can travel on foot, but that doesn't necessarily need for me to keep religiously to the route of the marathon, as long as I can somehow measure it. So that's what I'm about. I'm keeping to it in such a way as to be able to maximise my filming of the runners. So that having been said, I better conserve my film for that. So as you see, we're coming back down the same way again. You go up this way, or the advanced guard of runners went up this way and round there, as you remember, and now we're coming back on this side of the road, like that runner there. Here, there's a few more of the advanced guard coming down there, but I can't see any more advanced guard runners going up this way. So the next people coming around here will be the real serious Ethiopians and Kenyans, and I don't know what other countries we've got the visitors, and one or two of the Europeans that are really good. The guest runners, if you like. The advanced guard seems to have petered out. There's a few more, I think, just bringing up the rear of the advanced guard. I think she's going up the... she's an advanced runner as well, but she's gone up the wrong side of it. She's going to have to... She shouldn't... She's asking her... I might have told her, but she didn't ask me. She's asked her other runners if she's doing it right, and they've sent her across to the other side. It's not very well signposted, you have to admit. So this ahead, by the way, is them coming around the loop of the centre for the first time. So they've done about 5 kilometres at this stage. We're 26 minutes in. Can you see 26 minutes? There's a lot of sun. It's not easy to know what I'm showing and what I'm not showing at the moment. So these seem to be about... Well, that lady there who's going to come running again past me in a minute. Oh, there's some advanced guard runners as well. So they'll probably catch up with me shortly. 7760 and 7759 there. And after them, I don't know if there are any more of the advance guard. So they're going round the corner here, and they're kept separate to this lot. Obviously, if they don't keep to the run, if they get themselves mixed up and get in the wrong lane, then what will happen is they won't go through the right chip readers, and they'll be disqualified. So because of that technology, you can basically have people who are running already their 10th kilometre back again with people who are running only their 5th kilometre, And likewise, you could theoretically have people going out of their 5th kilometre here into their 10th kilometre and cut out 5 kilometres, but then of course they'll miss that chip reader if they do. So here we're seeing some of the advanced runners that we'll see again later when they catch up with me normally. So these people are a bit confused. These are advanced guard runners that have just come by on that green shirt, and they don't know how they need to be. Now they're going to have to filter off in the other direction when the most of these runners are going to be turning right. The advanced guard, which I'm running with at the moment, which is after the 10th kilometre, those guys are going to be turning left. But even amongst the non-advanced, the main runners, we've got some people here showing clear signs of already being a little bit sweaty and tired, whereas other people, some people are sweating like pigs already, and some people have got no sweat on them at all. There's a lot of these faces we'll see again when they catch up with me 5 kilometres further on down their line, or more than that now. This is a major point for spectators. Okay, but for those who've started at the 10th kilometre, the correct route is not down there. The correct route for those who are starting at the 12th kilometre is up here. So we start to walk up here for the 12th kilometre. There go the advanced guard runners up there. And shortly it'll be the guest runners that catch up, because at 9:30, well, half an hour ago they were allowed to leave a couple of minutes early than the main route. I mean, there's so many people that you don't all leave on the dot of 9. Yeah, you can understand that if you've got several thousand people all trying to get past a chip reader, everybody's start position is read exactly so that their particular timing is calculated to the second because of the chip reader, which reads them off at the beginning. And the same computer says, hey, you did this route in at such and such a time, and the same computer will say if they didn't complete the course, and they won't get a medal. So it's all highly technified. And you've got people like Carrefour who've provided these beating balloons. I don't know what you call them in technical terms. I'll call them beating balloons for the sake of argument. It all starts here, by the way. There's the Bristol Hotel, named after the Earl of Bristol, who gave the right to call hotels Bristol hotels if they were up to his standard, even though he wasn't owner of any. It wasn't a chain. It was a cachet rather than an actual capital arrangement. And Margaret Thatcher opened this particular rebuilding of the old Warsaw Bristol, which was given the title of Bristol Hotel originally at the time of Lord Bristol, but was completely demolished and needed rebuilding, of course, after the war. And when it was finally rebuilt in the initial style, it was reopened, as I say, by Margaret Thatcher. I think I've mentioned that on previous films, but just in case, no, I can't expect everybody to remember all my 800 films, so sometimes you'll get repetition and hesitation. So there's an advanced guard runner coming by. It's an interesting crowd outside the Bristol there. So you can say what you like about the advanced guard runners, but at least they've made it to that was just going past the 12th a minute ago kilometre. I've already been going 2 kilometres, which is quite good because I don't feel it yet. I don't feel anything yet. There was a time when 2 kilometres would have been quite enough for me. but those days are gone, and I hope that they're never coming back if I've got anything to do with it. 你好吗? I love it. Camera's out. I can talk. Right, I'll save this for the main runners then. I say I'm going to save it, but there are too many interesting things to talk about. This is like the Victory Arch, if you like, and they're getting a little bit ready for, in an hour's time. This is where the runners are going to come running up here for their final. Like I said, it's not any more down on Wisła Strada, which is the road next to the Vistula, where it's always been in my memory, but now they've brought it up to finish here, the 31st Warsaw Marathon, just in the same way as the half marathon finishes, right up here. So no sign of the super runners yet, the guest runners from Africa and places like that, the really spectacular ones. I'm hoping they'll come past me any moment. Well, certainly within the next 5 minutes. I'd be surprised if I don't get some. And you have to keep looking behind you for that, because when they come fast. I don't know whether I'm going to be allowed to go up here or not. Am I going to be on that side? Right then, fair enough. Okay. After all, if I go on, there's a serious risk if I go in there. I might be accused of interfering with the times of some of the most noted runners in the world coming through here any minute now. And the atmosphere is already getting quite interested. I don't want to really break my pace though, so it's a question of... No sign of them looking back there though. Looking back over my shoulder. Bit of a party atmosphere going on here. And you see, this is where you've got the chip readers and where the times are going to be shown for the people going through. So the timing since the start of the marathon, the 32-minute thing here, that shows the time since they let people off. But of course everybody went through that gate at a different time. Everybody's chip's been read, and when people get a reading, it's going to be an individual reading. They're all going to get filmed, what have you, going through here. So this is the and this is the chip readers, by the way. These wires going across there, they're the chip readers. That's why you've got the maximum security is there, and the maximum not getting in the way of people. Right, isn't that the lady that we saw? Yeah, that's the lady that I think I saw going up the wrong way, isn't it? Yeah. And shortly after her, there will be that couple that had the coordinated numbers on their jumpers. Although I can't see them yet. Anyway, the major runners, the superstar runners might be coming through before them. As at some stage they're going to start catching up with this group and overtaking them, which might not be very heartening for the people that started an hour earlier, but what can you expect? The fast runners, these fastest runners in the world, are much faster than your ordinary human being. Mind you, any marathon runner isn't an ordinary human being anyway. They're people that... Anybody that can finish a marathon is as physically fit as any normal person can expect to be, I think. If you can do a marathon, then that's it, you're all right. You're healthy. And that's why I'm going to try and do a marathon, even if I have to walk it, because I think that's the sign of health. If you can do a marathon, you're healthy. And that's what I'd like to achieve, but it ain't going to be this year, and from today I'm going to try and make it so that it's next year. And the excuse of having had lots of changes in my life during the last year, that's only going to be good for 1 year, hopefully. Although one never knows with life what's going to happen. But nevertheless, it's certainly not my intention to... and they're not sending us through the middle of the old town, which is quite a good thing too. Right, where are you coming, you superstars? It's 9:38. You can obviously see the nicely carved out route for them, but what's going to happen now? Okay, here's another one of those stops for water, manned by volunteers, and some toilets here placed as well in case anybody needs something like that. And which actually gives me an idea, but I can't use them because I'm not in the race. There's the Warsaw Mermaid statue over there with the Intraco building behind it. And we're still, even though it's 41 or 39 by the real time, for instance, the race here, we've got sponges with water on, people to wash themselves and then throw the sponge away. Oh, there's the lady saw earlier, not the one that I said it was. That's more like, I recognise her red hair. Ah, there we go, nice drink of water. And here we go. These are now the serious. She's got to go humbly on one side of the road as we get prepared for the big boys. 39. Here we come now. Look at this. Here we go. I'm breaking stride. I didn't intend to do that. Look at that. It's spectacular, isn't it? I've seen those guys before. They know what they're up to. And when they grab them, they're going so fast that they basically knock all over those water bottles like Skittles. And then they chuck they're chucking their water up to one side like a shower of things. If you're going to get anywhere near those guys at a water stop, you're going to get yourself wet. There they go. They're the special guest runners at the moment, running all as a group, and how spectacular that was. It makes the old priest in his cassock crossing the road look dull by comparison. There's people queuing up to get into church in the morning. They wouldn't want to get a bad pew. So there we go, that was interesting, wasn't it? But now there's going to be a bit of a gap between those guys running together in their caucus, as it were, and the beginning of the these are the leaders of the non-guest runners, the local contenders. Well, they might not be local. They could have come in from other countries too to do this. Many of them do, but they're not. I think they're the leaders of the ones that don't have superstar status, or alternatively the stragglers of those who do have it. That was quite spectacular anyway, that there a minute ago. And we've got some slightly straggly runners coming back up behind me. This is the Ministry of Health, which is opposite. It's also opposite. It's opposite the Basilians Monastery and Church. This runner, number 18, is going in the wrong direction. I think he's basically out of it. There's some support there. There's quite an ambitious looking, with the yellow top and the green trunks. There's quite a few runners, serious runners, that are kitted out like that today. I don't know if that's a particular club, whether it's the Warsaw Club or I don't know what. But There's number 13, so that's the 13th kilometre. I didn't see the 11th, but I saw the 12th. There's 7760 and 7759 that we saw earlier at about the 11th kilometre, or 11 and a half. They're now going past me at not much more than the walking pace, because there's somebody there who's walking next to them as well, who actually is walking and fairly much keeping pace with them. So they'll finish, I should think, but only just within the 6 hours. So, it's inspiring people around to break into a little trot as well. You can hear the drums going as the main group of runners is going round that area behind here that we walked on earlier. This is part of the High Court and the monuments to the sleepers and the defenders of Warsaw. No, not the four sleepers, that's on the other side of the river. These are the monuments to the defenders of the ghetto. You've got the early runners of the second group by the looks of things. Either that or the later runners of the superstar group. I can't tell, actually. It'd be great to run like that, wouldn't it? And some of these folk aren't exactly young either. And thick and fast they came at last, and more and more and more. Although it's not quite thick and fast yet, one at a time. It's a bit of dribs and drabs at the beginning, and it's going to come thick and fast in a minute. That's the National Library and the High Court there. All of the sentences from Latin about the ideals of justice are included as up there on the walls. Things like Lus est ars boni et equi, or ius rather than lus, ius est ars boni et equi. The law is the skill of applying that which is good and right. And you've got the flying pigs on the other side of the road looking at it. You've got the inevitable musical security guards looking bemused at it all. Looks like it's being fenced. Oh, here we go. And here's a proper group. I can't clap and film. they go, there's somebody there with a megaphone shouting encouragement. Now we've got some serious contenders. Unfortunately the sun is in that way, and well, you wouldn't be able to see their faces. Even if I were to focus back on their faces, you wouldn't be able to see them, so we'll have to wait for later to do that. Right, now we're in a position where we can maybe, this is already where it's getting a little bit thick and fast. Za dużo słońca tutaj nadal, żeby twarzy dostać. Tam na moście będzie lepiej. He wasn't trying to do photography of a group, he was just trying to provide water to one person. Everybody seems to have their own personal camp folios. That's a Legia stadium, by the way. Not Legia, the other one. Oh, I can never remember the name of this one. So there's a lovely big group there. I don't think I'm going to get everybody on this film because at this point people are just far too spread out. I think starting at the 5-kilometre mark you've just about get everybody on a 1-hour film if you don't start at the beginning talking before people come like I did. But from this point on I think we've got runners going and will be going on for the next, I don't know how many. I mean, maybe that's 100 that passed so far, I don't know. But there's going to be several thousand. I don't know how many thousand there are. And some of these shirts had 7,500 and something written on, didn't they? So if that's an indication of how many actual people there are, if it's a sequential numbering system, then that would be very interesting. I might actually have to go into those bushes because I can't use the toilet for the main contenders, so I won't have the camera on for that. So that was quite an effective place to do that, over there behind the tram there, in the bushes, not far from a football stadium. Anyway, you can see the back there, we've already got the traffic piling up. As happens on marathon days. We're now going down towards the bridge and we're getting much thicker. And again, you've got the whole... One of these days I should come filming this on a bike, shouldn't I? Because obviously you've got people on bikes who are allowed to... Effectively they're not allowed to, but they can at this point, just the same as I can walk by the race. They can ride by the race as long as they don't get in amongst it too much. So that might be a good way of filming. At the same time, doing a bike ride for a marathon, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Although you'd have to stagger it, because believe it or not, the way that some of those folk are running, they're running faster than a lot of people can ride a bike, including probably me. Not necessarily these ones at the minute, but certainly the ones at the front. I can't ride.
Come on, Maciek. Siemanko.
A lot of people know each other. So I was thinking I'm going to have to get off onto the pavement. Kilometre number 15 marker should be somewhere around here. Not sure exactly where though. It's quite amusing to watch what happens with water they're saying, because the number of foreign runners there are that come to Warsaw for the marathon. Oh, they're saying water. Oh, water and water. Powerade. Oh, these people are in Union flags on their heads. How's about that then? A bit of British influence here. These are the waters first, then it's Powerade. Whole bottles of Powerade being given out there. A lot of this Powerade that's been poured out into glasses is going to end up, if the half marathon's anything to go by, rinsing the street. In fact, a lot of it is already rinsing the street there, but no harm. The bananas are there again, and here, major banana point with the ends cut off. Polish people don't believe in eating the ends of bananas. I think there might be a little spider resting in there. And there's the jacksie, the mobile jaxies, which are there for the runners and the volunteers, no doubt, but not for the casual walkers around filmers. That's why I used nature for the call of nature. And they're coming down there in a big group. In a minute it's going to look great on the bridge. This is about the 15th kilometre, and we're talking about an hour and a quarter into the event. So we're looking at people basically running at 11 or 12 kilometers per hour. I'm walking at about 4 kilometers an hour. And the banana peels are, as predicted, piling up. I haven't seen this before on any of the marathons or half marathons, the actual appearance of the banana. It's obviously in fashion for this year, but it's no harm because it's all biodegradable, so it's better than something which would have some plastic wrapper around it. It's about to be autumn and those peels are just going to go along with the leaves into the mulch, so absolutely no harm from that. The cars are being redirected. And they go over the bridge. A mainly abandoned bottle. Some people are running with their bottle for a little while. Actually, getting close to the crowd when you're near a watering spot is a good way of getting wet, as they jettison their cups. It's not as spectacular as those real fast runners who were going along so fast they couldn't accurately pick a cup, and so when they grabbed one glass of water they kind of knocked about 10 over like skittles, which is quite interesting to watch. Some people are wearing their vests. There is no finish line. Oh, it's very thick here. We're obviously right in the middle of the bell-shaped curve at this point. Right, here's number 15 kilometre and the pacemaker and the computer. Sorry about that. Very nice. Here's we have the bridge over the Vistula River. At the half marathon, you may remember, on this bridge it was already stragglers only. At 15 I passed at 10:21 if you like, or 10:20 let's say, so that's $80 minutes to do 5 kilometres in my case. Oh, look at those, the tall birds. I'm not talking about the those up there. They're cormorants, aren't they? I say they're tall, the high birds. There's another cormorant there. There's 3 cormorants just flying there in a nice way, but that's not what I came to film. And this is a huge seagull, as fat as you like. So here we are with the beauty of nature all around. Watch I don't lose my camera in the river that way. After when I started at the 5 kilometres, and by the time I got onto this, anybody would think I was in the wrong the way he said that to me, and he's going along the thingy-majig bit on a bike. Some people are very arrogant, aren't they? He doesn't need to be on his bike here. He could be going along the central reservation like those guys are. Well, it's very thick here. It's almost like we've hit another centre of the bell-shaped curve quite a further bit down from before. I don't like the way the bridge appears to wobble a bit in the middle. That guy, we've seen him before, haven't we? Pushing his kids along on the marathon. So far I haven't seen any interesting sculptures that people are running inside of. I suppose that's because they end up a little bit further down. That's rather dangerous and aggressive behaviour. They'll go that fast on the bike. It's not really intended for cyclists, this part. That having been said, I have ridden down it, but with more consideration than that. Vistula River and its untrammelled bank, if trammelled is the word I'm looking for. I don't know why I stopped. I might have to save the rest of this for later, really, even though it's quite nice up here. Of course, today, Marathon Day, is the day when you want to go to the zoo because nobody can get in there, so it's absolutely peaceful. Obviously, if you can manage to get yourself into the zoo, it's a lovely day to visit it because you'll have the whole place to yourself. It's actually the last day of an aquatic exhibition I didn't know about. The runners are all lining up there, relieving themselves, as is the tradition just at this point. Although in the past I've noticed that people have tended to go deeper into the bushes. This year they're more shameless because of the recession, I expect, and they're doing it in full view, even though of course it's mixed company. They're just lining up and having an old pinkle right there just by the side of it all, which is something that I haven't seen before. It's a development like the bananas, really. Still plenty of people coming by, and we just got the 16th kilometre sign. Just that's it actually on that tree there, 16 kilometre. At certain pace points in it all, and I think this is one somebody goes by with an hour sign up, 4 hours, and I think what he is he's a pacemaker. So that if you want to be within 4 hours, you've got to stay ahead of him. If you want to be outside of 4 hours, you had better. I think these are people that could run it well within the 4 hours, but they're running it so that they do it at 4 hours. And if you want to be on 4 hours or within 4 hours, you've got to stay with them. Yeah, and so We're now on the people that are going to be doing it outside of 4 hours. 4 hours already is a very respectable time, incidentally. You've got 6 hours to do it in before they close the door. So I think we've still had ahead of us only the minority of the runners on this rate, and there's been a few thousand go by already. So I'm pretty much going to be, unlike on the half marathon when I started 5 kilometres in, I think with regard to this race I'm going to be surrounded by runners on the pretty much on the whole race, and they're still coming thick and fast. Some very enthusiastic support there from that side. Somebody's got a special clapping machine made out of, which is always nice. It's 10:44. So here's one of the differences to last year. At this point, next to this building here, they're being sent off to the left to do quite a bit of a detour through Praga. That wasn't there in the previous years. I'm going to take a shortcut here in order to, because I'm in with a slightly more straggly group now. The people that are going to do it in 5 hours. I want to catch up with the people that are going to be doing it in 3 hours, and then let them go past me again, and then meet these people again later. So that's why I'm going to do the shortcut onto Świętokrzyski Most from here instead of following their exact route. But I know from the time and the speed of walking exactly how far I'll be walking today and what my target is, which is a third of a marathon. So I cut off quite a chunk of the marathon by taking shortcuts, and here they are, just leaders now coming out of the tunnel. Some of them already, even though they're leader people, some of them are taking a bit of a walk. How that works out I'm not quite sure, but these are definitely leading runners here. Look at that guy run, already somewhere in the 30th, early 30s kilometres. This person here looks like a runner that's flaked out from exhaustion in the heat. Is actually a cameraman. He's photographing me right now, taking photographs of all sorts of things and people. So he looks like he's flaked out, but he's taking the runners down there. And Chris Photografiensis. I wish I could have some of that Kroplovisky, I'm telling you, especially if it's nice and cold, straight out of the fridge. I'm telling you, it's better than anything. Oh, somebody's got a boom box. So I've been running nearly, it's 11:58, so nearly, well I say running, walking, for nearly 3 hours. I've got another hour to make my 240 minutes. If 80 minutes was 5 kilometres, then 15 kilometres, which is a third of a marathon, or just slightly over, just on the safe side, is 4 hours. So my job is to walk for 4 hours today at an even pace, and I've got another hour to do that. And let me tell you, it's already telling in my feet and in my hips. My back is holding out better than it used to when I was this weight before, but the hips and feet are showing lack of use. Here in this lovely old street here, with lots of rowdy support. We're in the last few kilometres or so, and I'm in the last, 20 minutes almost of my attempt, which is likely to happen, but I'm pretty exhausted. Well, there it is. I've walked for 4 hours. I've got back to I've done my third of a marathon in the 4 hours. It's roughly a third. I didn't measure it exactly, but we're here at the end. There's the end of the marathon, and here are the 4-hour marathon runners just coming in now. It's been a great day. Part of the atmosphere, you can't get anywhere near the end there. So hope you enjoyed that. And next year I'll be, hopefully, God willing, fitter and able to be more active and have a much better result than today.